Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I was gonna do a Ask Me Anything yesterday, breaking down all the big news stories surrounding not only COVID-19 84, but the repercussions of it, and I just did not feel great yesterday. I did do a exclusive video with the Convo Couch over at Rockfin on their channel with Steve from Slow News Day and Jackson Facts. That was really fun. You can go check that out over there if you are a premium subscriber and you're somebody who also supports me premium style. Go check out the Convo Couch and that. But before I get into actually agreeing with Elon Musk, see, I can agree with something Elon Musk says, and then I can be against his transhumanist Neuralink 5G automation agenda. They're not mutually exclusive. That's how we report things here. So make sure to thumbs this video up, subscribe, share. I want to remind everybody, that this is how I do it now because I am 100% completely demonetized on the YouTube platform. 100%, no explanations whatsoever. In fact, they didn't even give me a notice of harmful content. I got one email in my bulk box saying that super chats have been disabled. That's about it. That's all they did for me. That's it. And I do want to thank a lot of the donors that came out yesterday, including somebody I'm not going to name because I'm not sure if they want their name out there, but really gave me some big bonuses. And I'm hopefully this is the last day we do it. We start another one every month, but I'd love to hit that $5,000 mark. So 5, 10, 15 bucks, it means the world to me. And as always, these are like super chats. So I read these first, and then we will get into the Musk story right here. And me actually agreeing with him. We'll talk about the bodies that were found in U-Hauls outside of a Brooklyn funeral home. Okay, and so much more. But let me just read these down the line. Jason Dutton, thank you so much. A teacher played loose change. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. Loose change in class in high school, 2006. They definitely would be fired today. Yeah, a lot of teachers did that. We went to school. I spoke at high schools. I spoke at colleges. I spoke at theaters, you name it. Okay? It took a while to figure out why I should, what I should think for myself, but your film always stuck with me. A whole decade later, I woke up. Thanks, Jason. Don't give up. Keep rocking it. Thank you, bro. So, you can put a little bit of information out there. It might not be perfect, but it gets people questioning. And then a decade later, they start questioning things. And remember, even though these are like super chats, I go down the line. So get your questions in now. Who knows if we'll actually hit them all, but we do try, okay? Thanks for keeping us informed, Jason. I live in Sydney, Australia, and the impact is not as bad here as it is in New York City or cities in Europe, but not sure when we're going to reopen. I would want businesses to reopen but take precautions. Let's make sure we can jack that all the way up. But take precautions, but with winter coming up soon, I'm not sure what the right call will be. Thank God I can still work from home, but I feel people that are not in the same boat. Keep it safe and continue the great work. Cheers. Thank you, Umberto. Yeah, it's a great question. One of the other things I'm going to be talking about, not just the bodies that were found in Brooklyn, but a Bronx doctor on the front line saying, yes, no, this is bad, but we need to reopen. Okay. So again, not mutually exclusive ideas that the virus is very real and taking lives, but we need to reopen the country and especially the state. Carissa B says, thank you for your work, Jason. I believe restrictions will ease up soon, but a harder, tighter clampdown will come after. Very possible. Get food and supplies now. Grow a garden. If you need to move, move. Much love and gratitude. God bless everyone. That's certainly something I'm thinking about. More than thinking about, looking at it. Let's see. We got this one from Logan McCullough. Mad respect, Jason. Love your courage and commitment to truth. Stick to your principles and continue to fight the false dichotomies. Thank you, brother. Enjoy all of your coverage, but with the circumstances recently, particularly enjoyed nerding out with you over the Grove Annals today. Awesome. That was almost a week ago. And I'm still waiting on, because of you guys, I ordered the original Grove Annal, the first one, published in the 1800s. Okay, or it might be at 1900, but it goes from 1872 to 1900. When it gets here, I can't wait to go through it, and then obviously I'm going to share it with you guys. Jesse Ray says, keep up the good work, Epstein content, and definitely gave me a few weeks heads up with the COVID-19 BS. You are the man. Thank you. Jason has been doing an incredible job into COVID-19, 9/11, and Epstein. Thank you, Aaron Nelson. YouTube is killing independent creators who built the platform. Correct. My channel is 13 years old. Despite the fact that it was on a hiatus from 2012 to 2019, I have almost 1,200 videos on there. Okay? Let's see, 651 out of 3,230 PCR tests in Iran were false positives, and the WHO tests were even worse, up to 80% false positive in the general population. Jason is on it. 1978 hidden enemy. And again, false positives, maybe. False negatives, maybe. There's so much going on with the testing. Again, for those that do not know how this personally hits me, my cousin, okay, she's around my age, a little bit younger. I believe she's 39. Hope I'm not blowing you up. She's a female. But she felt awful in the beginning of March. Took her 3 times to get the COVID-19 swab test. And if you haven't seen the swab test, it's extremely violent. I don't think I'd be doing it. If you don't, it's not a little swabby swab. Maybe we'll show you that today. It's pretty hardcore. So she does that. She comes back negative, supposedly, right? And then they tell her she has pneumonia. She's never had pneumonia, never gotten that sick in her life before. About a week later, they call her back, tell her to come to the Bear Mountain testing facility where the internet and the radio is jammed. Okay, so people can't live stream or broadcast. And then she's given another test. From that Saturday to the Thursday is when they confirm that she is then, when she doesn't feel bad at all, COVID positive. So now she's asymptomatic with COVID, apparently. She does her quarantine. She was at Vassar Hospital yesterday, and they were testing her blood to see if she could be one of the plasma donors, okay? So I'll keep you guys all the way updated on that as well. So again, if you want to get a super chat in, what we'll do is we'll refresh the fundraiser, and we'll go back to that a little bit later after we hit the news and some of your questions as well. Make sure you're thumbing it up, subscribing, all that good stuff. So here it is. I've worked on the coronavirus front line, and it's time to start opening up, okay? I'm an emergency physician at St. Barnabas Hospital in the Bronx. I have been in the ER every day these last few weeks, either supervising or providing direct care. I contracted a COVID-19 infection very easily in the outbreak, and my two daughters did as well, one of whom is a nurse. We are all well, thank God. COVID-19 has been the worst healthcare disaster of my 30-year career because of its intensity, duration, and potential for lasting impact. The lasting impact is what worries me the most, and it's why I now believe we should end the lockdown and rapidly get back to work. Okay? And then she goes on to say this. So again, the virus can be very real, and the lockdown doesn't have to be the solution. And again, I'm just going to skip through because I don't want a copyright strike, but at this funeral home, they found these U-Haul trucks, and actually Cuomo was asked about it today, and they're going to be investigating it outside of this Brooklyn funeral home where they found 60 bodies in, well, now they're saying between 40 and 60 bodies that were stacked up and not refrigerated. Okay, that is alarming and upsetting, all right? But now to get back to Musk, look, he may be doing this because his company and his finances are not doing that well. I don't know that Elon Musk is a bastion of freedom, but he did call the shelter-in-place orders fascist. If you actually listen to the interview, he says, look, you want to stay at home? You should be able to stay at home. No one should be forcing you to go out to work. However, if you would like to work, you should be able to work. He said, look, this isn't democracy. This isn't freedom. This is fascist. And I may have a lot of problems with Elon Musk. Brain chips for human beings, connecting chimpanzees to computer, 5G, Starlink, satellites being launched by SpaceX, all these things. Yet what he said here is correct, okay? What he said there is correct. So let's keep on going down the line here. The only reason that I'm posting this in this news mix, the largest ozone hole ever recorded over North Pole has finally healed itself, is because the Mind Unleashed did a really good article on this. And remember, when I was a kid, because I'm a 40-year-old man, it wasn't so much carbon dioxide that was being, CO2 that was being demonized as climate change, right? It was more CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, and the hole in the ozone layer, which would heal itself. Now, even though CFCs are massively been reduced, and China is really the biggest pumper of those, they found a huge hole, the largest they'd ever recorded over the North Pole, and it actually healed itself in a rather short fashion. There were some that was claiming it was because of less activity going on around the globe due to lockdown, and this does a decent job of presenting the other argument that it's natural. So something I wanted to get in here. Joe Biden falls asleep in a town hall with Hillary Clinton, and social media lights him up. How is this man not only running for president? Hopefully you won't really be able to hear the audio. I might even be able to track that audio down. I don't need it because this is where she's talking about Biden, and he's clearly asleep. Like he's asleep. It's a 16-second video. He nodded off. Could there be a bigger joke? Could there be a bigger joke for president? Okay? YouTube. They are now going to add fact-check information panels in search results. They've been doing this in, I believe, India and Brazil for quite some time. We've already seen the COVID-19 panel under anything that is remotely labeled coronavirus, which is upsetting and worrying, etc. But you have to wonder how long a channel like this is for, is for the world. On the 6th, I'll be able to appeal. I don't expect them to actually give me monetization back, but who knows? Who knows in YouTube who works for Google or maybe knows an executive there who watches this program and understands the importance of independent thought and reporting. Because that's all we do here, right? I'm not just grabbing stuff out of anywhere. We're reading documents, right? We're looking at actual video footage and articles that are in the mainstream that are supposed to be the authoritative sources, right? But since there's so many authoritative sources that are now, at each other's throats with information because we live in the post-truth era, it's really whatever authoritative sources YouTube or Google decides to bond to that day, right? It's WHO and the CDC. Well, if I report something before the WHO or the CDC does and then they report it, am I still not an authoritative source? You bet your ass I'm not. You bet your ass I'm not. Thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. So during COVID-1984, the new things that are going to be implemented, and maybe not even forced to be, but just put into place by retailers, are these thermal imaging cameras that as you walk in are going to give you a predator-style look at your body, right? They're going to decide what your temperature is and whether you should enter the store. Now, of course, heat signature technology goes well beyond just seeing whether or not someone may or may not have a fever, right? And this is that next step in the track trace database society that we currently live in, and that is progressing further. And that, by the way, is moving towards automation and letting human beings know you might not be needed. You might not be needed. And then Nancy Pelosi comes in a few days ago and says, UBI, Universal Basic Income, that Yang idea, it might be time to move to that permanently. So stay at home and we'll give you some money. Now, what will that do to the working class? Well, if you're giving a person $24,000 a year for nothing, $2,000 a month over 12 months, right? And everybody gets that, that just causes inflation. First of all, it's printed out of nowhere. It has no backing whatsoever. Not the US dollar has anything but zeros, ones, and lies behind it, right? We all know about the Federal Reserve not being a federal agency and a quasi or pseudo-government agency that is actually private. We all know that this stimulus of $6.4 trillion, mostly for the predator class and its minions, is actually going to be way higher than that. Way, way, way higher than that. And that's why I don't like the word stimulus. But what would happen if this goes on? Well, I'll tell you what would happen. First of all, I want to say this. Right now, making 60 grand a year in New York before taxes, it's not the best, it's not the worst. If I was in the city, there's no way I could afford to live. None. Stack another $24,000 on that. If I want to live in and around this state and, have some semblance of sanity and not worrying that if an emergency comes up, I can afford at least partially that emergency, I'd have to go into six figures. I don't have, you know, I don't have kids of my own, and I have to help with my sister's kids. But if I had kids of my own on top of that, I can't imagine. Or if my sister had no income at all, other than this, $24,000, they want to give it to everybody, it wouldn't be squat. So essentially, with that idea, with the Yang idea, I believe it not only causes inflation, but it causes human beings to kind of settle and say, you know what? I don't need to do anything. I mean, we have so many people already at the teat of the state via welfare programs and assistance programs for health, et cetera, et cetera. It's alarming. It's alarming. And then to put the entire populace on that, remember, there will be some caveats. You will have to do certain things in order to get that money. And if you refuse to do those certain things and don't get that money, you're going to have to make even more money to just get to that middle class level. Remember, the predator class has eviscerated the middle class over the last 30 to 40 years. Now, on top of that, the reason I transitioned over to Yang here is that Yang is suing over the canceled presidential primary, as he should. As he should. This sets a terrible, terrible precedent. Terrible precedent. We already have so many terrible precedents when it goes into our national voting system, when it goes into voting machines, Diebold, corruption, all that stuff. I've done entire broadcasts on how we could actually fix that system. They're not interested in fixing it. So, again, fully disagree with Andrew Yang on his UBI, fully agree with his decision to sue New York over the canceled primary. Now, a lot of talk has been made about the dairy and farm industries. Oh, sorry. That's, let's see. I skipped one. Sorry, guys. I thought this was a different one. We'll get into the transition team in a second. But Namibia was exporting red meat to the U.S. market. The U.S. market would not be hungry for that red meat if the supply chains were not broken and we were paying the American farmers for their cattle. And Trump did order for these farms to stay open. That's why I thought that article was that one there. But apparently, there it is right there. Trump orders meat and poultry processing plants to stay open during coronavirus. Again, don't have to agree with everything the president does. I agree with this. It's just like when you found out that New York was dumping milk in upstate, was dumping yogurt, cheese, because again, the supply chain was broken. It was actually a good thing that Cuomo did to try to set up a program where those would go down to the city where there is short supply of that, and that the food banks do need that stuff. Okay? He reached out to Chobani, Crowley, and others. And again, that doesn't mean I love Andrew Cuomo, but in that situation, that's what you do. You don't dump milk. There are hungry people, not only in the country, but especially in the city. So the last one I wanted to talk about, when we were talking about presidential elections, et cetera, was that Trump, and there's a document out there. We do it live, so let's see if we can just pull that document right up. There's a document out there now where they're saying you got to get ready for the transition team because Trump might not give up his power if Joe Biden, or when Joe Biden wins. Nobody wants to vote for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a disgusting joke, okay? And yet, here you go. And they've done this by May 1st, I believe it is. This transition team has to be set up because they're so worried that Trump won't give up the presidency. Listen, you know how hard you're going to have to rig it against Trump if Biden is the nominee? Biden is unelectable. He is unelectable, and yet we still see this push to promote a visibly senile old man for president. Meanwhile, the majority of the media is refusing to talk about the revelations that Mike Flynn was clearly entrapped. And that doesn't mean I like Mike Flynn that much. Okay? It doesn't. But now that you see these paper writings where they talk about the goal, what's the goal here? The goal was never the truth. The goal was to get this guy to lie. The goal was to get him to admit that he had violated the Logan Act, something I have been talking about for well over a decade, the Logan Act, in regards to secret meetings like Bilderberg, but you'll never hear it in that context. You'll never hear it in that context. And it hadn't been used for, I believe, over 100 years. Decades for sure. But they used it against Mike Flynn. Odd. Not going to use it against the technology advisor, Peter Thiel. And then Dylan Avery's in there, and he's in the chat room. I didn't notice him until right now because we're finally going to get to your questions. And he says, have you seen Cats yet? No, Dylan. No, I have not. I have it. I just ain't watching it. I've thought about it, but damn, I hate musicals anyway, and I can't imagine that. Ogdo Bogdo says, good morning to the fellow tax slaves. Let's see. Rizzle says, YouTube sucks that they demonetize him. Creators like him is what built the streaming podcast world. Goofy times we live in. Matrix must be broken. That's why I'm on platforms like Rockfin, where I do an exclusive free, and you should go sign up for Rockfin right now. Exclusive free every Tuesday at noon, live streaming like this. And I'm going to have Jackson Fax on next Tuesday. Expect to see him also on the YouTube channel at some point, maybe in a couple weeks on top of that. Whoa, there's the jump. There's the jump. And guys, again, just a reminder, we're going to do about 10 minutes of questions here, and then I will go and recheck and refresh over at the Burmese Brigade Media Month 10 for any kind of super chat, inquisitions, and questions. And hopefully we can hit that $5,000 mark, guys. All right, let's see what we got. Boom. There's the cats. Jason, please interview Dr. Rashid A. Buttar. I've been seeing him go around. I have not watched any of those interviews with him, although I am seeing a lot of people saying that you would test positive for COVID-19 if you had the flu vaccine in the last 10 years. Here's my problem with that. I would assume, maybe my cousin didn't, but let's say that my cousin had gotten that flu vaccine in the last 10 years. I think that's probably a pretty good guess. I'll probably ask her today. Remember, she tested negative the first time when she was actually sick. I have a lot of questions just like you guys do about the testings. I just want to make that extremely clear. Karen M says, good morning. On the YouTubes, how you doing? Hey, everyone. PayPal. I do have a PayPal. It is in the description if you just scroll down. So PayPal would be great. Be awesome. I have a Bitcoin address too. I'll be quite honest. I've never spent any of my Bitcoin. That kind of just sits there. And don't get me wrong, put in the right position, I would cash out on that. But you can support me in numerous fashions, guys. I really appreciate the support. Stop working for free. Get off YouTube. LBRY is the new king. I've been hearing about LBRY. Is that supposed to be library or pronounced that way? I'm not sure. I may have to get on there. Guys, again, I'm on BitChute as well. There was supposed to be automation there on uploading stuff. That's gone downhill. It's tough. I don't have a team. I'm just me. It's just Jason. Maybe I'll have a team at some point. But again, when I was thinking about having that team, I was thinking about staying here, getting a business, right? A business address, and then getting interns to come in during the day for production and, thumbnails and a bunch of other stuff and reposting, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know that I can do that now. And I certainly don't make enough money that I can just start a business where I would have to pay actual employees. And the other thing about all of that is I've always been hesitant to do anything like that because I know how volatile alternative media and the paychecks we get can be. And I would never want somebody to be beholden to me for their living if there was a chance that I couldn't pay them, right? It's just not a burden I don't think I could bear. Maybe down the line. Who knows? You never know. Johnny 5, afternoon, folks. Rashid. Good AM, Ogdo Bogdo. I identify as a free person despite how the predators view me. Okay, Tiffany. Good. Yes, Tiffany. Yes, thanks. Elective surgeries already starting back at hospitals in Virginia, which is good. Elon is correct. Imushu, my sister may have cancer in her colon, but they just canceled her colonoscopy because of all this. Bullshit hype fear. I understand it's real, but we can't shut down the entire world at this point. No, and by the way, they should not. I don't know that that's really elective. These screenings and such, they're starting to come back in upstate New York as well. Cuomo was asked about Albany Med and whether or not they would be able to reopen for such things. And it's time. It's time. It's more than time. Again, I was never like, lock us down. Elon is Illuminati. He can't trick me into thinking he cares about freedom. Yeah. China and Dems want to kill us. So wrong. So wrong. Dems want to kill us. Come on, man. Yes, the average Democrat that lives on your street can't wait to see you die. You know, China, by the way, probably wants to work with us. They definitely want to, their party, the Communist Party, wants to stay on top of the people. The predator class there wants to stay in control. They want to challenge the United States dominance militarily and economically for sure. I don't think China is our friend. I don't think China is the friend of freedom by any means. But to equate them with Democrats is just, come on. Small thinking. It's left-right paradigm, my friend. What up from Pagosa Springs, JB and the Brigade. Hope everyone is well. Thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Take a few more questions here, and then I'm going to go check the GoFundMe and see if we've got any super chat action over there. Hospital I was born in at Annapolis in Wayne, Michigan, closed entire hospital, shut its doors. How can a hospital shut down during a scamdemic? Again, no one was calling for that. We shouldn't be furloughing employees. There should be wings, but the idea that, I saw one of these disgusting TikToks. I've never posted any of these TikTok videos because I understand the stress that could be under people that are in the front lines. And then I understand the boredom of a bunch of people that aren't seeing them across the country. I don't want to get into the numbers and how big New York State is and compared to New York City where the majority of the cases are, etc. But I watched this, and I'm sure it's going to infuriate a lot of people. But they're doing the new pallbearer TikTok dance, okay? And it was actually Gareth Ike that tweeted this out. And when I saw it, I was like, "What is this?" And these people are holding an actual body doing with the funeral meme Astronema dance. I don't want to play it here. And it says COVID-19. Obviously, this isn't a dead body. It's somebody that's alive that they wrapped up as a joke. But that's not funny. It's not funny. And you know what I do want to show everybody? The swab test. You want to see something violent. You want to see something, again, give me the virus. This is the swab test right here. All right. Let's get in there. I mean, they touch your brain. Oh my God. Ah! 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 No. That's a hard no, guys. That's a hard no. They did that twice to my cousin. No frickin' way. Not a chance. No sirree, Bob. No. Knockoff effects are way worse than the virus, i.e. suicide rates, addiction rates, people losing their jobs, homes, food chains broken, etc., etc. The 300,000 died worldwide is half of the yearly worldwide. Again, I'm not saying that the solution was good, and I'm not saying that all those things shouldn't be concerning. I have a friend today who already had gone through a ton of different things because he recently had a baby, and the hospitals were iffy. He couldn't be there when his kid was born, et cetera, et cetera. It's 2 weeks down the line, and he just found out his brother killed himself, shot himself. I just found out today. I mean, I can't imagine. And, he's got to be just beside himself. And I'm not saying that the lockdown had something to do with that, but yeah, no, suicide rates are up. Okay. Let's see. Deaths caused from the flu. People are afraid to go to hospitals, etc. Knock-on effects are way worse. Yeah, but they're not from the flu. Let's get that out of the way. This is not the flu. I can't reiterate that enough. No matter what you think about the numbers, it is not the flu. I want to read this from Dr. Cameron Siddell. All right, and this is the guy that blew the whistle on the ventilators and how they were treating it. He goes, "It all starts with the medical community accepting that COVID-19 is something new. I realized as soon as I saw the first CT scan, and we've talked about that, for lungs, that it had nothing to do with what we had seen and done for the past 40 years. That's Dr. Catoni. He said that to Reuters, and he says it all starts there. If you're not following Cameron KS, you need to. You need to. That's a doctor on the front lines giving you a real insight to what's happening in New York City. All right. Planet of the Humans documentary is going to rightfully hurt Elon. I have not seen that. I don't know what that is. Elon Musk Can't get adrenochrome. All right, so let's just get this out of the way. I've seen zero evidence that Elon Musk is a pedophile or somebody that is looking for adrenochrome, aka this mystical thing that, don't get me wrong, adrenochrome, and I'm not saying it has no legitimacy, but the idea that all of these celebrities or, people of power are on it, that's a bunch of Johnny nonsense. We got to have discernment here, folks. You got to have some evidence. Speaking of funeral homes, Project Veritas has a new upload today on funeral directors must see. Don't know what that is, but who knows? I'll check it out. I hate that I agree with Elon. Again, you got to get over yourself. Again, independent thought's a good thing. Not being beholden to hating or loving somebody just based on hating or loving them, but taking into account their words and actions, I think is important. Dr. Rashid Booter is Rob Kennedy's talking running dog. RF Kennedy had endorsed HRC and is pro-vaccine. Don't forget his granddaddy created vaccine. Please do your research before promoting asshole. Johnny 5, I just posted the link above. It was Aquanet, LOL. I'm not sure what that means. Elon Musk will tell you what you want to hear if it means he gets his adrenochrome. These people, man. Guys, I'm not saying like people like Madonna, for instance, don't have a ton in occult symbolism. In fact, there's a Rockfin. I think it's free right now. If you go over there, it's a Rockfin exclusive where I break down Madonna's occultic performance, I think like 10 months ago at some European award. That's real. I don't know that she drinks adrenochrome or Musk drinks adrenochrome or any of these people drink adrenochrome. There's zero evidence of that other than fantasies posted on message boards by mentally ill people. Okay? Now, if you want to get into real adrenochrome and you want to start talking about Hunter Thompson and other things of that nature, Fear and Loathing of Las Vegas, we can get there. If you want to start talking about, Crowley and what he was really into, we can go there. If you want to talk about the Franklin scandal, we can go there. I mean, the stuff that's already been reported on and has fact-based evidence behind it is already so damn alarming. Why do we have to go to cartoon world? We don't. That's the answer. We don't. Kevin Matanska, good deal. I don't know. Check temps in Northern Hemisphere, i.e. Alaska, Yukon. You in Yukon, Rock Girl? You up there in Alaska? Remember, Musk did have the stones to state what demographic is in control of all media. Yes, I will roll my eyes at that. Biden is a setup. Let's see. OFFS bullshiz on the ozone fakery. I don't even know what that means. The country is a complete joke. JK, not Mr. Meteor style all the way. Only one Jim. Mediocre style? I don't know what that is. The rapid healing of the ozone layer over the pole is due to a weakened magnetic field allowing penetration of charged particles that generate ozone. Yes, we live in a large magnetic field that we largely don't understand, Grinch. Good stuff right there. In fact, they talk about that magnetic field in the Mind Unleashed article. Rock Girl says, keep on fighting the good fight, guys. You know what? Let's check and see if there is any super chats really quick. Yes, we got one. We've got one. No, we don't. We just had a donation. They didn't leave a comment. Huh. Right? You got to leave a comment if you want me to say it, Karen, but I do appreciate the donation. Let's see. 2020 presidential debate going to be epic. I'm going to need a translator between the two to understand what they were talking about. There will be no presidential debates. Can you imagine Joe Biden trying to debate Trump? The first half hour would be an embarrassment. An embarrassment. I'll beat him like a drum. How many times? I'll beat you like a drum. If we were in high school, what's he going to do? Is he going to put up his dukes and try to fight Trump? That'd be hilarious. I mean, maybe. Let's see. An individual all Americans need to support and promote is Dr. Shiva. Learn what immune system and virus are before spreading gossip crap. We had Shiva on for over an hour on this channel. And you can check that out for free here. You can check out all my stuff for free, guys. That's the whole thing. I try to put as much stuff out as I possibly can, and I want everybody to see it. That's why all my documentary films are here. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and of course Shade the Motion Picture are free right here. Sleepy Joe. Yeah, I know. Sleepy Joe lives up to the name. Let's see. More like Scroogled. Dems have something evil up their sleeve with Biden. No! We've already had peeps asleep at the wheel. We don't need a creepy sniffer hanging around. Get you there. This is retarded. What about the Clinton army of COVID trackers with no medical expertise? Right-wing lunatics getting reported much. I don't know what any of that means. I mean, I'm not for the contact tracing system, the track trace database society that's being built around COVID. I can assure you of that, if that's what you're asking. Project Veritas video of a funeral home director's must watch. I mean, is that with that funeral home director? I guess. I mean, that would be interesting. I'll definitely be checking it out. Oh, I went to see I did that wrong. Shouldn't have done that because that's how we skipped out. All right. Burmis is sponsored by Soros. Nothing to see here. I mean, that's retarded. That I'm sponsored by George Soros. I've done videos on Soros. Soros is no friend of mine. I've exposed George Soros as a youth Nazi on the channel. That's a real thing. I exposed what his name was. You know, that might have been We Are Change. When I was there, we did that video. But, George Soros in my film, what is it? Shade the Motion Picture with Gates and Bloomberg and Oprah and Ted Turner and at the time Rockefeller, etc. All based in eugenics. So yeah, no, George Soros is no friend of mine. Sorry, Muckletoon, but keep your narrative. It's funny. Hurry before they take it down. How do you know, Muckletoon? Come on, Life of Riley. Of course he doesn't know. It's made up nonsense. It's throwing it at a wall. Oh yeah, I just read that Hitlery will be all set to slide into the position and slot for the election of POTUS. I mean, you can read that. There's a possibility. She'd be more of a viable candidate, even though she's horrible than Biden. You can't have a sleeping senile man as the candidate, right? That can't be real, right? That's a problem, right? I think so. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm kooky. I don't know. They'll give everyone a handout when they know the currency is about to change to the Amero. The Amero was disinformation put out by an FBI informant. I believe Hal Turner was his name. And Hal Turner still has shows. It's really weird. But that's not to say that there wasn't a homogenization and a push for a currency that would be shared between Mexico, the United States, and Canada, the Amero. Right? Whether it was going to be called that or not, there was always a push for a consolidation of power and to have an EU-style system of money. Yet that's now falling apart in Europe. Why do you think he's sponsored by Soros? A leopard never changes its spots. The fuck does that mean? When have I ever promoted George Soros? Again, I mean, some of the things people say about me, it's ridiculous. HA had something on it. Had something on what? Oh, HA was saying that? On Hillary maybe being able to slide in. I mean, I've talked about Hillary Clinton still running months and months ago and the promotion by Howard Stern. And who knows, maybe she gets named as his VP. But again, I don't know how you can rig the election for Joe Biden. It seems almost impossible. Yeah, exactly. So Burmis is a Nazi trainee taking money from the Jews that want all other Jews dead. I don't know what that means. And that's why I left San Francisco. I can't even get a stimulus because I was claimed as an adult independent. That rules out so many people who need financial help, but we can't keep this up. We need to be productive. I agree. Well, if you want to follow the Pied Piper off the cliff, that's your choice. Makes no sense. Predictive text. What is this? Even if he still releases relevant info. Phobos, he's provided no evidence, information, or even a coherent thought process why I would be promoting or ever have promoted George Soros. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely 100% ridiculous. Burmis is truth light. Yes, everybody's such a bigger truth teller than me. I'm far from perfect, guys. But one thing I can say is that I never, ever, ever, ever report any information that I think is false unless I will be reporting saying I think it's false. For instance, there was a huge push from people in DMs, etc., for me to say the world was going to end yesterday on the 29th from the 1998 OR2 asteroid that flew by us by millions of miles, and that this is what the global lockdown was all about. Instead of reporting that that was going to happen, I did a mixed martial mindset with John Fitch explaining, the points that they were making, and then how that was not going to happen. And here we are on the 30th. Okay, I don't try to sensationalize things. I try to remain as honest as humanly possible. So if I get it wrong, I let you know. It's so weird. Time to revolt. I don't agree with everything that YouTubers say. You shouldn't. Nazi Pelosi for prison. Agreed. Keep you in mind, the predator class is openly talking about sterilizing your grandkids. I say your because they mean all of us. Better than CNN. The dollar is backed by the productivity, current and future of the country. That's the theory. That is a theory. From this, you get and why it's productivity growth and GDP growth by any means necessary. Go watch Pockets of the Future video on the New York, New Jersey for the truth about those numbers. Oh, boy. Steinman, why don't you just start talking to some nurses? Should be pretty easy to find New York City nurses or doctors. But you know you're going to go to like a YouTuber who's not talking to anybody on the ground, right? Right? All those extra bodies in the U-Hauls, that's not real, right? That's fake, right? There are no bodies there. They just had the police out there for no reason. And that's normal that they store bodies in unattended U-Hauls that have no refrigeration. That's normal, right? Come on. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Oh, a sponsor diversion to lead you nowhere. Do you know he pays for subscribers and likes to his channel? No. I don't. I've never done that, ever. I've never bought a subscriber or a like for my channel, ever, 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 ever. See, again, mentally ill people like to create scenarios because they're failures in life. And despite the fact that YouTube demonetized me 3 weeks ago, they don't promote my videos whatsoever. I continue to produce content. I don't burn bridges. I build them, right? I'm not here to burn any bridges. I don't have to agree with everything or even the majority of things that Gary Franchi, for instance, says over at Next News Network. I respect Gary Franchi. Gary Franchi respects me. We text sometimes, DM sometimes back and forth. He has me on his channel, and I'm able to not only talk about Bill Gates hacked emails, but I'm also able to bring up the counterintelligence 2020 to 2022 document that Donald Trump signs off on. And that gets me 5,000 to 7,000 subscribers in a few days' times. Thank you, Gary. I'm trying to reach more people and let them know it's not about right or left. It is about right and wrong. That is what is important. Do you get it? That's how you get likes and subscribers. You do good content. You build bridges. You go on other people's programs that you may disagree with, but you have respect for. Muckletoon, your claim is BS. Prove it or shut the fuck up. Again, guys, I mean, how many trolls troll this channel? There's some trollies, and I get rid of most of them. You know that. I don't have any problem with that. Of course, they don't want to fix it. They are worried. They don't have enough dead people to vote for their puppet. Tom Hanks' wife is an effing dog. I don't think that, what is it, Rita Wilson? I don't think so. She's a decent-looking older lady. I mean, a dog? I mean, who gives... I don't want to get into it. Whatever. I don't like to get into people's physical appearances unless it's, very quickly and kind of funny. African beef. Geez, dog eating is slop. UAP, Global Vision, John Levy. A Planet Truth for you if you want the real. Oh, you're popping off on other YouTubers now. They're the truth. Okay, I don't know any of those, so I couldn't tell you one way or another how their content is. Watch the Project Veritas video about the false corona deaths in New York. Everybody is dying of Kung flu. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to go check out the Project Veritas thing. Maybe I'll have to do a rebuttal video. Unless it's, 100% real. I mean, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there weren't 40 to 60 bodies in that U-Haul. They want us to eat lab-grown meat. Yep, that's pretty disgusting. I'm not into it. 3D printing of meat. Let's see. When the president closes down the meat industry, your neighbor might eat you before you eat him. The lemmings over the cliff is a myth. Yes, they are. They were driven there, pushed off and drowned like this psyop pandemic. For those that don't know, the idea of lemmings jumping off a cliff comes from a Disney documentary. Yes, the good people at Disney, where they took an angle from underneath so it appeared they were falling off the cliff, and they were actually pushing them off the cliff and killing the lemmings. And unfortunately, that's still in the public vernacular, just like drinking the Kool-Aid from Jonestown is still in the public vernacular. Did you know the majority of those people were shot to death and most people didn't drink the Kool-Aid? Did you know that? That's a fact. They gunned those people down. Followed them into the woods afterwards when they ran away. Yet we still have drink the Kool-Aid as pop culture. Meat from Nambia, what could go wrong? Of course, it's just better to ship meat across the planet rather than just use what's here right now. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's good. Not lab meat. You don't need that much meat to live. I like the meat. We read documents live and we take everything as truth. Also not true. Actually, we have a lot of discernment when it comes to reading documents and what they mean, right? When we talk about Seth Rich, for instance, and we talk about Andrew McCabe, we talk about Seymour Hersh, we throw out there the fact that the FBI said in their documents, right, that there were no files on Seth Rich. And then we get more documents from Strzok and Page, and we find out, oh, wait, there are documents on that. And then we know from court documents that Seymour Hersh's source is Andrew McCabe, the deputy director of the FBI, meaning that he had access to a lot of information that he was sliding Hersh over the years. Okay? That's the kind of stuff we do with documents. Biden is sleepy and crying? I don't know. I'm not an emoji guy. No worries, Trump or bust. Hot civility. Maybe you guys will starve to death now without your factory farms. Doubt we're starving to death in the United States. At Sky, exit is Burmese CGI. I've never listened to a more synthetic human. Yeah, I'm CGI. I mean, guys, this dude needs to take a jog, get some sunshine, shake a human's hand. I know Fauci doesn't want you to shake hands anymore. Shake a human being's hand, look him in the eye, develop a relationship. Get out of this mindset that everything is some kind of craziness. My goodness. That's okay. First delivery of beef from Africa under control of China has already arrived in the States on Monday while they kill our meat stocks and plow them under. It's crazy. Fuck Trump, vote JoJo. Don't know who that is. Is that supposed to be the libertarian candidate? I'm not sure. They have it rigged, bro. They're working it. They're trying. Does anyone else see these damn epic times? He calls it the epic times. And they are everywhere, but it's EPOCH. Hopefully you didn't see any ads on this video, as I am completely demonetized and YouTube should not be making any money off of my content. Again, without explanation. No good crisis goes to waste. Virus is real. Great time to put everyone in gray. 1984. Actually, I think that during that town hall with Sleepy Joe, Hillary Clinton actually talked about not allowing a crisis to go to waste, and as the old saying goes, something close to that. Thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. Let's check and see if there's any super chats over at the GoFundMe. Remember, guys, with your support, I can continue doing this on a massive level. Hopefully we'll get back to 3 to 7 times a day. It's been 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 videos on the channel max. But I mean, there's just been so much, and I'm doing longer shows, and I'm watching way more press conferences. So I'd love to get, what are we at? $359 away from the goal on the last day. That would just be super awesome if we could get there. Let's see. All chicken in the U.S. is shipped to China for packaging and sent back and not required to be labeled as a product of China. Nothing new, people. Yes, you do dump milk on the ground if it's not paid for. Farmers are not obligated to give away their fruits of their hard labor. You must pay for it. Yeah, no kidding. Colonel Pandemic. Listen. It wasn't Cuomo's plan not to pay for it. When he heard it was dumping, they were either going to pay outright or they're going to figure out some kind of a tax break program. I 100% agree that we have to find a way for those people to get paid because you can't just give your product away for free. I agree 100%. But HRC is in there with him. Dems have something other than Biden. Biden 2020. Yeah, right. The establishment wants Trump to be POTUS. He is the perfect enabler for all their plans. That's exactly why they are running Biden. Listen, I'll say this. When you look at Trump, his foreign policy is disturbing. No matter what he says, it's what he does. I mean, he's given Israel every single thing they've wanted. He's propped up more action against Iran, in my opinion, than even the previous president, Barack Obama, and obviously the previous president before that, which, Bolton was a big part of the fear-mongering during the George W. Bush administration in regards to Iran and even North Korea. Obviously, Syria is a mess. This administration has never owned up to the fact that the OPCW documents and leaks showed that there was absolutely no chemical attack there. Our missiles were real. Magnus Arsland and military on Patriot team, maybe not Air Force, but something they have to land, right? Vote for Joe. Savage Intention, when the White House is dropping Revolutionary War hint, well, take a Fing hint, people. I don't know what that means. Steve HRC, Trump is a puppet who advances the NWO. What news? Oh, you mean commie books? It's all bread and circus. Donald Trump is a rapist. Vote for Biden for real change. Well, again, no one wants to talk about that Tara Reid thing at all. I mean, yeah, you're seeing it some on Fox News, but let's be honest. It should be well beyond Fox News. Trump scares the hell out of me. Revan Spinker, how many percent is the inflation? 1%, 5%? Is there evidence that under count could be as high as 25%? It's like we're in the Twilight Zone or something. They say is a retracted message. Yep. Rather watch and listen to this guy or his documentaries than any garbage on MSM. Thanks, Phobus. We appreciate you. He's a puppet! Hey, just joined you. Love your shit, but why are you against UBI? How do you think people are going to get money and jobs after Elon unleashes his army of driverless cars, robots, and AI? Great question. Well, Joe Snake, what we need to do is demand that we're human beings, okay? And that we don't need to be taken care by the teat of government. Now, when you saw the UBI, my questions were, well, what happens? It just causes inflation, right? Let's see. Man, we jumped a lot. Sorry, guys. Nope. Well, nope. Geez. Doesn't look like we're going to get to them all. So let's get into the UBI question. Well, how can we avert that? Well, why don't we do what Eisenhower did? Okay. Eisenhower created the highway system, revolutionized everything. Okay. Why don't we have maglev trains? Think about this. Think about if you could live in, I don't know, Pennsylvania, even Virginia. Virginia's about an 8-hour drive. I bet you with a maglev train, you get to New York City in about, under an hour. And if we had that, and we had them in major metropolitan areas, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean we get rid of cars in the highway system. It would eviscerate the current situation for planes, but they're not doing so hot right now under this pandemic, are they? It would empower us so much. Number one, you would have a works progress administration like Project, where a lot of people would be working on that. And then there would be so many businesses that could pop up around those places that once were pretty destitute. I think that maglev trains and a network of that could change the country, and that's what you want. You want that kind of renovation, right? And that's how you get people to work again. And, you bring the factories back here. I get automation is going to be a big part of those factories. You're still going to be needing human beings there to service those machines and do certain jobs. There's a lot we could do. You know what? We're done with this guy, right? He got his troll chance. Goodbye, Trolley. Goodbye, Trolley. Hide user on this channel. Bro, there is no COVID-19 test, just a coronavirus test. 3 people I know got tested and never said anything about COVID-19. Again, guys, I'm very questioned about the tests, but it's not just a coronavirus. It's like if you had a normal cold, coronavirus, right? The CT scans of chests are not going to suggest COVID-19. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying the swab tests are good. I'm not saying the PCBR test, the blood test is good, man. But to say there's not an excessive amount of death in New York City and that somehow all of these nurses and doctors are just lying and, again, there aren't dead bodies piling up at funeral homes. It's not real. I get the breakouts down in a very, very small area geographically of the United States. Again, not calling for martial law, not calling for the lockdown to continue, but we have to deal with facts. The Chinese people are a lot like us, i.e. propagandized by the oligarchy. I totally agree. Listen conversation Cuomo with Michael Bloomberg to chase people. TikTok, let the Chinese see your moves and map your bodily flexibility or whatever. Listen, TikTok is just one aspect of track trace database. Jason definitely got a haircut. Yeah, I finally did. I got that big illegal haircut. Now, I had clippers, but I wanted it to look nice. So I was able to get in contact with somebody, and we went rogue, man. We went rogue. We weren't wearing masks. There was no social distancing, and I got my hair cut. And it felt good, man. There's so much hair, so many grays popping off. Man. Let's see. What happened to all the tests? Guess it'll be a vaccine. Please don't be the first. No one wants to be in any line for it. Needs to stop today. WTF. The medical staff is so busy. How are they able to practice and perform while working? Guys, a TikTok video like that probably took 15 minutes to put together. And again, I thought that one was extremely distasteful. But other ones, like, they're 15-second videos. People act like the medical staff should be total robots and not try to, I don't know, get over some of the heavy shit they're dealing with. If you've heard me read what my nurse at Stony Brook has to say, or my nurse at Queens have to say, it's trying, man. It's trying. I don't know how nurses do it even before this. That's got to be tough, seeing death all the time, seeing sickness all the time. Just not something I want to deal with. Also, they say dead with a positive test when referring to numbers. That might be a way to lie without lying. Let's see. At Mac Franco, Gates is more hybrid Bond South Park villain. There is just something comical about him. These TikTok videos are disgusting and ridiculous. That one in particular really made me upset. My observation is that most remaining Dems are just sheep that grew up and never tested the system. Now they feel entitled for never testing the electric fence. The reality blows their minds. Again, the left was side by side with me during the Bush administration, in 9/11 truth, in no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, way more than the right at that time. Way more than the right at that time. And that's why it's never been about right or left to me. It's about right and wrong, and it always will be. Always going to be about right and wrong. And that's how, I feel people need to look at these situations. Like a Coney Island freak show. Let's see. Frontal lobotomy. Yeah, crazy, right? Yeah, F that. No kidding. They're talking about the actual swab test that looks crazy. Ugh. The big guy, big baby, not that bad. They test for you DNA. Dude, get a effing Q-tip. Think a lot of us had it already. Well, again, they're testing for antibodies right now. That's one of the things that they did with my cousin. Pockets of the future will leave you without a doubt. How this is all make-believe. It's not all make-believe, Steinman. It's not. Again, I don't know what to say. There's going to be no convincing those that have no firsthand information, that have a worldview and just want to believe a certain thing. There's just no convincing them. My ex-girlfriend called me the other day. It was one of the best conversations I've had in a while, because obviously I was worried about not her dying from coronavirus, but financial stability, Obviously, the military presence there when I thought the military presence would be much heavier. And it broke my heart she didn't come up here. Now, on the flip side to that, she thinks she contracted it. She couldn't taste or smell for quite some time. And by the way, one of the stories I did not go over is that there's a new possible symptom on this that they're seeing in children and babies that may be related to the COVID-19, and it's these rashes and inflammations. I've also seen some things of discoloration of toes elsewhere. Really weird stuff. But getting back to her, she doesn't know what she's going to do now because most of the staff has been fired. The reason they kept her is because she's both a piercer and she does the computer stuff. But the city is pretty barren, and it's weird. And she's like, I'm on these chat groups, and when I tell people I'm in New York City, they're like, oh my God. And then I explain to them what's really going on, and I'm like, it's bad, but it's not exactly as bad as the news is portraying it, but that doesn't mean it's normal because we're far from normal. I mean, I'm just so close to so many of these people that I don't know what else to say. No food in our market, says Marianne Cox. Good thing women have babies, LOL. How many tests were pre-contaminated? Another great question. That thingy went on way too long. Yeah, that press in there, no kidding. Dr. Andrew Kaufman, I think, put out a more coherent video about COVID-19 and testing than Buttar's. Yeah, but he doesn't believe in viral theory at all. I need to watch Kaufman's interview with the Conscious Resistance, Derek Bros, because I know that Derek does some really good things out there, and I'd be interested to watch that conversation. Read some of the swabs that were contaminated. Our government is killing us. Is it going to be harder to move out of the state or the country? I mean, I don't know. Peter Belonger, you're right. He looks like the scientist from The Simpsons. Frink? Someone looks like Frink? I'll just offer to sneeze on them, then they can swab my snot. No, they want to touch your brain. Yikes. Yikes. Yeah, half of what? Oh, yeah, it is new deaths. Ones that would not have died from the normal. I don't know what that means. It's pretty incoherent. Guys, I think I'm going to wrap her up. We've been going for over an hour. Thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. 5, 10, 15 bucks. It means the world to me, guys. That's how we keep it going. That's how we keep it real here with your support. So big donors out there, somebody wants to come in and hit that 5K. I got a big donation for somebody that supported me for years, and shout out to you, Jim. I just want to say thank you so much for that. Make sure to thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. Again, I'm never leaning in a left or a right direction. It's always about the truth, and it should be for you too. So if you like that, please support me, share my information. Remember, I am also a documentary filmmaker. I'll bet you anything, guys, those 4 messages, those DMs, are the Project Veritas videos. I'll bet you anything, at least 2 of them are, right? And don't worry, I'm going to watch them. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture are all free right here, right now, in the playlist section. So please check them out. Remember, exclusives on Rockfin. Tuesday at noon, we're going to have Jackson Facts on there. It's another great way to support me, but you can follow me for free by creating an account. I'm over at Minds as well, posting. Check me out there. And guys, with that being said, I absolutely 100% love you all, and I'll see you on the flip side.